So, good evening. Welcome to the Columbus Astronomical Society's November meeting. I'm Dana Grubb. I'm your acting president, and I hope everybody's warm and toasty. These are difficult times for us right now. There's the issue of COVID. There's the issue of masks. If I'm making anybody nervous by having my mask off, I'll put it on, but you can't understand me with my mask on. We still don't know, for example, for our December meeting, are we going to come here? We don't even know for sure the Perkins will be open. Are you comfortable going someplace and having meals like in a restaurant? Could I see a show of hands? If we had a night where we would meet in a restaurant, would any of you be interested in going? So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And certainly I would be interested in going. So I will look around for a restaurant we might eat in. If you have a favorite place you're interested in going, just send a message to Maine on our website, and we can get your information, or send it to me personally. You see my email posted in different places. So, and then in addition to that, for the rest of us, and for those of us, even if we go out to a restaurant, we're going to have a Zoom meeting where we will probably play bingo. I promise that I'll help. And we'll have our nominations. So we're a little late in starting the nomination process this year. We should have announced in October, but we're doing that now. So I would like to introduce people that are here that are on our nominees. Everybody should have a copy of this that's come to you through our mail. And if you're here when I say your name, would you please wave and say hello? Let's start with President. Jimi Varadi is our nominee for president. You want to stick your head in the camera? I guess sure. I probably can't do that easily.
Good evening.
All right, so when you have the mask off, I know who you are. Vice President Don Leonard. We have Don. He's outside. I know he's here somewhere. Yeah, they're talking. Oh, okay, Secretary Dan Heckler. All right, Dan, nice to meet you. If I had a way of moving the camera around, I'd do that.
Stick my head in the camera?
Sure.
Go for it.
Go for it.
It's kind of small, though.
Yeah, it's small.
Let's see. Hello.
And,
This is
Treasurer, I'm Dana Grubb. Former secretary, but really I'm an artist. All right, Board of Trustees for the 4-year Chuck Jennings. Chuck, would you like to sit your face? I have been on so many calls this year. I know that we want to have people, actually see people. Isaac, is he outside talking too?
Probably.
Yeah. Now we know.
Yep, I'm here. Hello.
Oh, you're on the Zoom, of course.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the Zoom.
If we could project your face, we would, but people will see it later. Don, can we get you up here to put your face on the Zoom so people know who you are?
This is ID.
Yeah, we're introducing nominees. I'm sorry. Not to blindside you, but.
Hi, I'm Don Leonard. I teach at OSU. Very nice to meet you.
Welcome, Don.
Good job. All right, we covered Isaac. Charles?
Oh, no, I've got 2 years left on the term.
Yes, but you're still on the slate of nominees, and we're introducing all people. Get your butt up here, please.
And don't you forget.
Right.
Charles.
Charles.
For a year and a half now.
Yeah.
We want people to know what we look like underneath them.
Right. We're all Zora.
Okay. Tom Beck. Is Tom here tonight?
No, he's not.
He's not. Okay. And Mark Peter.
I'm here.
Again, we're introducing everybody on the slate.
Yes, I'm not being elected, however.
You're not being elected, but you are generously offering to be past president a
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm acting as past.
Past president.
But I'm not. You're not voting for me, so.
Yes, it's nice that they still get to see all of us after a year and a half. Okay. So I received no additional nominations, which is perfect. We have the right number, but if you feel very strongly that you think you should be nominated for something, by all means, send us email and we'll put you on the slate. Volunteers. We have all kinds of opportunities for volunteering, both at Cass, at Perkins, and maybe even at JCAP, right? Like other clubs around the country, COVID has decimated our membership, our activities, just getting to see each other. We're very hopeful that in the next 6 months, by the time spring gets here, we will actually be able to be together outside having a good time and even inside having a good time. So in the meantime, we need your help to revitalize. If there are things you want to see, places you'd like to talk about, subjects you want to hear about, just send us an email or pick up the phone and call us. We're all reachable. Isaac, would you give us a quick status?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Isaac Cruz. I'm the director for CASIS, which is the Columbus Astronomical Society Imaging SIG. Just wanted to let you know that CASIS is alive and well, and we will have a meeting next Saturday. That's on the 20th, and it will be through Zoom. And what we'll do is we'll have an open agenda as we normally do. What we talk about is anything and everything related to astrophotography. So if you're interested on the hobby of astrophotography, how to take pictures from the sky and the cosmos, and how to be able to get in and start the hobby, or if you are an experienced astrophotography and want information on how to actually get better, where and how to get new equipment and so forth, you're more than cordially invited to come over and attend the meeting. Tonight's presentation by Jim will, hopefully will whet your appetite for astrophotography, and looking forward to see if anybody that is interested on the meeting next week. The Zoom link will be published a couple of days prior to the meeting, so look for it. It will be published in the in our link. So we will actually have it over there. Thank you very much, and hope to see everybody that is interested in astrophotography next Saturday. Thank you.
Thanks, Isaac. Brad?
Yeah. My other hat is I'm the director of JGAP down in Hockingham State Park. Have you guys all been down to the Astronomy Park? How many of you folks have not? So, for those of you who haven't been there, the purpose of the Downtown Astronomy Park is to give people a place to go and observe the night sky. I will let people who are avid amateur astronomers know that it does get pretty busy sometimes. Sometimes we get 70, 80 people there, and it's not the kind of place to go to be all by yourself and be off and doing your own thing. We do have 4 acres that you can spread out into if you feel like you want to go down there. It is open 24 hours a day. You can just drive up. In the past, before COVID, we were doing programs with on Fridays and Saturday nights when it was clear. Because they were so popular, we required parking reservations. We haven't been doing that since COVID because the numbers have been moderate. And our goal was not to keep people out. Our goal was just to make sure that the parking area didn't get over full. So now that that's not a concern, we're not requiring parking reservations at this time. They were free. All you needed to do was get one. But and those were only needed on Friday and Saturday nights when our programs happen. We're going to. Sure. Yeah. Sorry about that. Hi. So the John Glenn Astronomy Park programs are officially going through next weekend. As you guys know, next weekend is on Friday, there is a partial, almost total lunar eclipse. It will be all but a little sliver of the moon will be completely in the Earth's umbra at that time. And it's going to happen really, really late at night. I wanted to extend the programs out through that period. But then from Thanksgiving all the way to early March, we're going to take the programs down to whenever it happens to be really clear. That's basically, we're going to call the programs if there's a really nice weekend.
Actually, just to be clear, it's the Thursday night, Friday morning. It's Friday morning at 2 a.m.
Yeah, so I wanted to have something there. But it's in the AM on Friday. That's correct. So so next weekend is the last program we're going to do. As far as volunteers go, if we're back to doing like normal telescope programs with 200 people and whatever, and if COVID numbers are relatively low at that point, we will need people to go down and show people stuff with telescopes. We've got about 10 telescopes at the observatory that you could borrow. I'll loan you one, and that kind of thing. So you're more than welcome to be a volunteer down there as well. I would heartily encourage you, however, if you don't want to make that big drive, to come up here and help out Don, because he's still doing programs as well. So you have options. But just to let you know, it is freely available. You can go down there. We have power. If you're an astro imager and you want to set up a computer, we've got 10 plugs in the central Jupiter bench, and you can use them. We're not going to run out, so you're more than welcome to use it. So, oh, by the way, I wanted to announce that folks allow you to do this. We're doing a little fundraising gig here. We're selling the John Glenn Astronomy Park calendars. These are pictures that were taken at the Astronomy Park by a number of the astrophotographers that frequent the place, myself included, and I think it came out very nice because I wrote it from scratch. There's lots of astronomical info. I tried to put things like double shadow transits on Jupiter and, the comet that's supposed to be in that month and, that kind of thing. I tried to put a lot of stuff. It goes all the way from January of 2022 to May of 2023. That's the time period that it goes. Why? That's because that's how many pages I was able to buy. If I got fewer, then I wouldn't have had the cool informational stuff at the beginning. So I figured I might as well go for the 14 months. If you want them, they're $18. The reason why we're charging $18 is because this is a fundraising thing to pay for the power that I just told you about in the Jupiter bench. So I have plenty. So if you would like one, hit me up. So okay. I'm sorry.
Can you do PayPal?
I could do if you can't pay, you can go to Etsy and you can pay it on Etsy, and I'll ship it to you. You just put in John Glenn Astronomy Park on Etsy, and it's the first thing that comes up. It's the only thing that we have for sale on Etsy. So, okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
Instagram. So before I turn it over to Don Stevens, I wanted to mention that if you take photographs at the JGAP, you are eligible to have Brad look at them and possibly put them in the calendar. So if he doesn't know your Instagram page and you're posting on Instagram, send him a copy. All right, Don?
Yes, hi, I'm Don Stevens. I'm the director of Perkins Observatory. Couple things. We have resumed in-person programmings and are planning on continuing them. However, as you may notice, it's a little cold in here. We don't have heat currently. They're promising me to have a solution sometime soon, possibly for this winter yet to have heat in the building. If not, there's a possibility we may shut down for the winter again like we did last year. But I will make an announcement if that occurs. I still am doing a few programs, though, before that'll happen. Got one this Friday coming up. And I have 2 Friday nights in December as well that I'll be doing public programs, and Friday evenings. Programs start at 8 o'clock. And if it's a clear night and you want to come set up a telescope and show the fine folks to come to the program stuff, that would be appreciated. The more the better. I've had last few weeks had several folks come out and volunteer. Joe Stark and Charles Lisco there, and it's always appreciated to see you guys and the folks that come to the programs enjoy your presence coming out and showing folks stuff through the telescopes. I'll make an announcement as far as either way what we're going to be doing as far as if we're going to continue doing programs through the winter or not. So hopefully if we do, you guys can come out. For the lunar eclipse, if the weather's nice, I plan on being out here to see and photograph the eclipse. I'll have the building open up and at least hopefully have restrooms available for folks. So if you want a place to come out and observe the eclipse, you're welcome to come out and join me out here if I do come out, if it's a clear night. If it's cloudy, I'm going to get some sleep, something I often don't get enough of. So I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions about the observatory or anything? If you do, catch me. I'll be around anytime during the meeting tonight. If you got any questions or anything, happy to answer those. So I guess we're ready to turn over. Thanks.
Okay.
Let me check something. Hold on. Just want to double check to make sure that this is recording.
A moment of technical silence.
Okay. We're good?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so our last topic this morning before our main speaker is actually something that's owned by our speaker. A man who wears many hats here. Jimi Varadi is not only our nominee for president, and he's not only the speaker for tonight's program, Astrophotography on the Cheap, he is also the person who's been trying to negotiate with the state of Ohio about Greaser Field. So I'm going to introduce him, and when he's done telling us the horror story of Greaser Field, he can enlighten us with astrophotography.
Okay.
I think you can get applause. I think it sounds really good.
As far as Greaser Field, I don't have a lot to really report there, except for we can't use it right now, okay? It has been sold. It used to be owned by American Electric Power. It's been sold to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. And in doing that, you could go, we can arrange for you to go out there, but you're gonna have to carry everything because they won't allow you to drive a car, okay? So that's what we're trying to get cleared up there. And so for now, don't make any trips out there because you probably won't be able to get in and just waste your time, okay? As soon as I hear, I will be putting out an email on this, but as soon as I hear something or we get something straightened out, resolved with it, then I'll let you know immediately, okay? Okay, and you know me already, so.
I want to see your face on the projector on the screen here. Let's see. One right. There we go. Okay, so start talking.
They're going to see.
As soon as you talk, it'll actually hear you.
Oh,
So
okay.
It's whoever is talking.
So I'll go right into it and then use the buttons down here instead of that thing. Okay. What made me decide to do this is the fact that we've had a lot of very good presentations on astrophotography. But the number one comment I heard from a lot of people was, hey, it was great, but it went over their head. And they didn't understand a lot, or in order to get into it, very expensive. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be expensive or that expensive to just get into it, okay? And what this is basically for is to, you want to go out and get a picture of the moon, Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus. Yeah, I don't know, we might be able to work Mars in there too, okay? So we'll just get going here and yeah.
Forward arrow. Yeah, you just hit the forward arrow key like this.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, click on the slide. Forward arrow key there. Okay, I'm gonna.
Okay, so touch here and then there.
Yeah. Okay. So there we go. There. Okay.
Okay. First, there are two basic types of astrophotography. Okay, one is afocal, the other one is prime focus. Under afocal, all you do is basically go out and set up your telescope, get an image in there, like say the moon, Saturn, Jupiter, focus it in, take the camera, put it over your eyepiece, click a picture, okay, or your smartphone. Not much more to it, really. As I say here, not much more to explain about afocal, except you're actually taking a picture of what you would normally see with your eye, okay? A couple things that might help you, suggestions. If you're going to do that, and that's the route you want to take, what you can do is buy a bracket. And that bracket, as you see there, this part here clamps onto your focuser, okay? Down here you have just about every camera that I know of has a 1/4 screw, 1/4 inch in diameter, 20 threads per inch, okay? You thread that into the bottom of your camera, slide it along to wherever you need it to match up your lens, snug it down, slide this up and down, and you're all set, okay? Here again, the same thing, but a little bit more advanced. Now they all have, where you clamp up in here, they all have rubber so that you're not going to be marring anything, okay? What I like about this one here, you still have the 1/4 screw, but you have a knob here that allows you to make a much finer adjustment as far as to come across left and right. And then the same thing, you have a knob back here, which brings it closer or farther away to align it. You're just aligning your camera with the telescope, is all you're doing with the eyepiece. This one here, I think the price is pretty ridiculous. This is 50-something bucks. You can get that for probably about 20 on eBay, okay? The other one you can get for $9.95, I think it is. Okay, the other type of bracket that you have here, and it is, you can actually see it attached here, and this allows you to mount your phone right over it. And believe it, I've seen some pretty darn good pictures taken in that manner. There's one a gentleman here took out on the front lawn, and I still don't know if I believe him because it's really a nice picture, and it was a picture of Saturn, and I just couldn't believe that he did it. And these can be used on your telescope. Yeah, if you're into birding or something like that, they can be used on a spotting scope, and actually you can put them on binoculars if you wanted to. But I would suggest you put them on, what is it, the diopter that you turn on usually on one side, put it on the opposite side, okay? And the other suggestion I might have about that, the most aggravating thing, especially if you're trying to hold it, or even with the brackets, if you have to tap on there to get your picture taken, that telescope's going to start shaking all over the place. Okay, and the same thing, especially with a camera, when you're trying to press the button on a DSL or whatever you have there, you're going to start shaking all over the place. You can get what is called a remote trigger. And a remote trigger, it's just a cable that goes out. It's electronic. They used to have them for the 35 millimeter where you press the thing. And what it is it has a little thumb switch on it. You press it down. Every time you press it down, it clicks a picture. Okay? If you're trying to take a burst of pictures, it has a feature. You press it down and then you slide it up and that locks it. And it will continue to take pictures until probably your battery goes dead. Okay? So, but the thing is, you'll get rid of all that shake. The other thing, they also sell the remotes for your cell phone. When I checked here, it was $5.95 on eBay for an Android type. It also comes with a bracket so you can attach it to your phone, and then on the back, again, 1/4 20 screw, and you can screw it onto a tripod and use it for other things, which isn't bad. Okay, so. Okay, now we'll move along to prime focus. Under prime focus, what you're actually doing, I thought it was falling off there for a second. Under prime focus, what you're actually doing is the same thing, setting up your telescope, getting an image in there, and then you take your eyepiece out. Okay, a little bit more advanced. You take the eyepiece out and you have to have something there. So the most logical thing in this case is to replace it with a camera. When you put that camera in there, it has no way to focus itself because you don't have it's just a different type of camera where you can't get it into that cone. So what you do is you turn your focusing knob, goes up and down, brings the camera into focus. Once you have your camera into focus, then either with your remote or whatever you're doing there, then you click it, take it. Okay? Now, this may seem a little strange to you. The Angel Eyes camera over there, I picked that up on eBay for a whole whopping $8.99, and they had the audacity to charge me $1.50 shipping. So, you know, it's not a bad little camera. It's actually nothing more than a webcam, okay? And they've housed it all like this for you. What I did over here, this is a 35 millimeter film container. And I don't know if you remember those or not, but every time you bought film, they came with them. And what's nice is, on this here, this is your stop. This is your nose piece. That goes down to your focuser. This stops it from going any deeper, and you lock it down. Over here, you have the same thing, but the lip on there and the cap goes down, rests there, and that's all there is to it, okay? Well, what I did is I took a webcam I just had laying around, cut all the corners off of it, and made it so that it would actually fit on the end of this camera. Desoldered the wire, put a hole through there, put it through the other, resoldered it, and it's stuck on the end there with GE silicone seal, okay? And I just put a layer of tape on there for two reasons. Number one, just to make it a little, because that fits actually better than some eyepieces fit, okay? But just to make it a little snugger so it wouldn't turn on me and I didn't have to run the thumb screw in as much. And down at the bottom, I put tape so that as I go to put it into the focuser, it actually makes it easier and gives it some protection because that sensor is just sitting out there bare. Okay, but what you run into and you run into, somebody mentioned it here tonight, there's a problem. If you happen to own a Newtonian type telescope, these and what we'll get into in a few minutes, the DSLs with the T adapter, what you run into very often is you can't focus it in. And if I go over here, there's the sensor right there. Okay, it's, I doubt 4 millimeters square. Okay, and matter of fact, I don't even think it's completely square. Okay, so that is sitting way down here. On this one here, it's setting, you can't see it too well, but it's setting inside this little box in back that's made to hold the circuit board, and then it's soldered to the circuit board. And what you have here that's a little bit different than this is just a piece of glass to protect that sensor. But the main thing is that board's way back into there. Now, if we go over here, here's that plastic housing. The board sits back here, so that means the sensor is just about halfway up there.
If you use the mouse, people online will be able to see also.
Okay. By putting this sensor down here, there's a glare there, it's kind of hard to see, but it's a little bit over 2¼ inches. So in other words, this sensor here ends up a little over 2¼ inches deeper into your focusing tube, which gives you right away 2¼ inches more back focus to go into the tube or to go in. And what you're trying to do is get into that cone of light that's being reflected back from your secondary mirror. And without it, this camera here, if you put this in a Newtonian, you don't see anything. You might focus it down, you might start to see, say you're looking at the moon, you might start to see the disk, and that's about it. And then you get so far and it just stops. Doesn't happen here. But that's just if you own a Newtonian and you're having trouble trying to do some astrophotography, or that's what's happening, okay? Now, when you're using a webcam of that type or that type of camera, although not the ones built for astrophotography, the ones built specifically for it, little tiny bit different. But when you put the eyepiece, or when you put the camera in and you're replacing your eyepiece, that camera acts basically somewhere between having a 6 or an 8 millimeter eyepiece in there. In other words, you're going to get approximately somewhere around that magnification. Mine ended up about 7 millimeters. Okay? And this type of camera is only good for the moon and certain planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Venus. Venus, all you ever see is that it has phases, okay? But you can't see any features in that. It's all ammonia. You might be able to squeeze Mars in there, but getting any real features is going to be kind of tough. Okay. And whenever you're looking at something like that, if you have an opportunity, always try to take multiple pictures. Or if you can't, if you have the opportunity, take what's called an AVI, a small movie of it. If you take an AVI, what happens is most of these cameras take the pictures or record at about 30 frames per second. So if you take a little 10-second AVI, which you don't get much movement of anything, during that 10-second AVI, you're getting 300 pictures. So what you can do is then you can use a program. There's many of them out there, okay? But one of them is Registax. And it's a free program. You download it from the internet. And what you do is it takes all, say you take 300 pictures, it goes through them. If there's a really bad one, it kind of throws it out. But then it aligns the pictures basically over each other, so everything's aligned, and then it makes one picture. Okay, and that one picture that has been stacked and partly processed ends up considerably better than any individual picture of those 300 that you took. Okay, and it can make a pretty drastic difference too when you do it, either if you stack it or don't stack it. Okay, and over here now that's a picture that I took with that little homemade camera of the moon. Not the greatest in the world, but not the worst. Okay, and that's a single picture. I did not stack it. If I had taken multiple or taken an ABI, it would have been a much better picture. And that's taken with a ETX 60, which is just a small little cheap telescope. I believe Brad has one, and it has a focal length of 350. Okay, so 350 divided by the 7 is 50. And then since there's a Barlow on there and I had it active, it's 2x Barlow. So 50 times 2 is 100, and that's about what that picture is there, 100x. Okay. I'll tell you what, before I get into this, there is something out now, and those that maybe don't own a telescope or thinking about a telescope, Jason Hisson bought a telescope from Astronomers Without Borders. It's $199, I believe it was. He paid for that. And this is a 5-inch Newtonian, but it's only got a little, I'd say the tube's only about maybe 2 foot long at best. But when you take it out and you set it up the top, there's 2 thumb screws you loosen up. You grab the focuser on that and you pull it up. And there's 2 rods. You get it all the way up to the end and you tighten these 2 rods down. Now what you can do is put a camera like that you can't get a focus on, put it in there, loosen those knobs, and take your focus down to say halfway or whatever, and then start sliding those rods down. As you're sliding those rods down, you'll see it eventually start to come into focus. So bring it into focus and then go a little bit further if you have to. Lock it down. Now you've got a little bit of focus either way. Okay? And there is a company now, they're quite large, they're doing quite well in Europe. I guess they're very popular. And a couple guys here started buying them. And that's Skywatcher. Well, Skywatcher came out with basically the same thing, except they took it one step further. As you're pulling that up, apparently if they have a detent with a spring and a ball bearing in there or what, I don't know, but it kind of clicks a little bit, lets you know it's to that position. And then you can lock it down there, which is not fully out. And that's its astrophotography position. That gives you the proper length to be able to go ahead and focus and take a picture with that. Okay? So I'm not saying run out and buy that, but it's not a bad idea. And they come in on those, they have an 8-inch, I think it's $575, a 10-inch for $7-something, and a 12-inch for like $1,300. Okay? If you check around for a 12-inch or a 10-inch, that's a pretty reasonable price. Okay? Okay. Now we'll get into, these are astrophotography cameras that are factory made, basically pretty much all ready to go. Okay? And these are the ZWO ASI 120mm mini camera. And the last M, the first M stands there for that it is a CMOS camera. You have two basic types, CMOS and CCD, okay? CMOS, the chip is much cheaper to produce apparently. The prices are lower, but as far as the quality of the pictures and what you can make it do, the CCD is the better of the two, okay? But price-wise, it lowers the price. This is a 1.2 meg camera. It's USB 2, 30 frames per second, and something that's nice, if you get a little more advanced and you decide you want to go deeper into this, it can be used as a guider. Not bad. You can purchase that, and I'm not selling anything, but High Point Scientific has it for $149 for that camera. Now, I'd seen it weeks ago, and it was $129, so I don't know what's going on there. And then when I checked on the ZWO site, they don't even show it anymore. So maybe they're going to discontinue it. So if you're thinking about it, but that is only good for what they call planetary, which is the moon and those few planets that we just named on the other cameras, okay? And then you can go one step up from there, and that's the ZWO ASI 120 MCS. M, there again, CMOS. C stands for color, and S stands for super high speed, okay? And that's 1.2 meg, same as the other one, but it's 60 frames per second, okay? That can come in kind of handy because of the fact, one thing, when you're taking pictures, especially, or trying to take images of Jupiter, not only are we turning, which it's moving across the sky, Jupiter's days only 9 hours and 55 minutes. So it's really humping along there, okay? So if you're standing there trying to take individual pictures, you're going to find out that you're probably going to end up with a certain amount of blur because of the fact of it's actually turning on you. And then keep in mind, like say you want to go out and you want to, what's good about it, say you want to get pictures of it and you want the red eye or the storm in there. If you don't see it, depending on how long you're going to be out, wait 5 hours or less. It's going to be back. So if you're staying out long enough and it's not there, go look at some other things and check back every hour because, like I say, 5 hours or less because you don't know where it's really at on the backside. Okay, it's going to be back around again. Now, same thing there. This can be used as a guider, but it's intended for the moon and that. But it will also get some of your dimmer nebula and galaxies and things like that, like probably Andromeda, it would do with no problem, okay? There again, same price as the other one, $149. That's not bad. And on the ZWO site, they have it for $89, but you don't get this nose piece or this what they call all sky lens, and all it basically is a fisheye lens, and you take this nose piece off, and on the back, the bottom side of that camera, same as all the others, 1/4 screw, okay? Take it out, set it up, turn in the screw on your tripod, and if there's going to be a meteor shower, you just let it rip, and anything goes through there, you're going to be recording it, okay? So kind of a nice feature as far as I'm concerned. I'd probably rather pay a little bit of the extra money. And if you buy these separate, since they don't give them to you there for some crazy reason, if you buy these separate, I think the fisheye is something like $30 and whatever, but then they're going to hit you for shipping too, because it's individual. It's a part, it's an individual item. The cameras they ship for free. Okay, another type of camera that we'll discuss here, and that's a DSL camera. DSL camera, any of your better cameras, Canon, Nikon, Minolta. This happens to be a Canon that I bought. It's a Canon Rebel T1 DSL. They're up to, I think, T6 or 7 now. And every change that they make has been good. Okay, the first change that they made when they went to the 2, one of the changes was that they put in a little larger display, and then the display flips out and you can turn it. That can be nice when you're at a weird angle or whatever, trying to look at your camera on especially in Newtonian. Okay, so now what you normally would do with this is called, over on the other side there, this is called a T adapter. Okay. Now, there's one thing this T does unscrew from this ring, okay, and that T happens to be a 42 millimeter 75 thread. So that would fit into that camera that we were just looking at, where I said they didn't give you the nose piece. Well, this is the nose piece here on this. And all you actually do here, you press, I'm sure if you use a DSL, how to change the lenses and that. You remove the lens from there, press the button, quarter turn, it pops right off, okay? Put in the nose piece, quarter turn, and it locks in. Once you have that, then you set the camera right in your focuser, depending on if you got a cast ring, it'll probably be that way. And lock it down, get your image in there, and then focus it. And you can use the display, which would be normally on the back side of the camera, or this type of camera that they come with I don't know if it's a mini USB, but it's a USB that fits it and then plugs into your computer. Then when you start it, the software that comes with it, which is the EOS software, it allows you to be able to see the image that you're getting, and it's a much larger image, because you can just see what you've got, how well you've really got it focused. Sometimes you think with those small displays you got something focused pretty good. You find out how wrong you are when you get it home and you load it on your computer. You say, boy, that's wasn't too good. You've done it, huh? Okay. And also, they're available, the remote trigger. Okay, so you would plug that in there, and the same thing there. The hard part is getting your focus, not necessarily focus, but your exposures and that. Once you get used to that and at least get in the ballpark, you get one decent picture, take a good look at your specs on there and see what you were set at. And that can really help you to learn that for later on, okay? And this is a picture that I took with the DSL. There again, I did not process that. I did not, it's not stacked. I wish I would have stacked it, okay? But there again, it's not a bad picture, except it's usually once you hit quarter moon and start going over, you start losing your shadows. And once you lose your shadows, you don't have your depth perception that you had before. Things just don't look the same. Okay, and this might be a little bit of help to you. The exposure time that I used on that was 1/160th of a second. And the ISO I had set at 400. Okay. to me, it was a good picture, or decent, okay? But yet I didn't, there was things, let me see something here. It just looked dead to me for some reason. So I went ahead and, what I did do was, where'd you go? I just changed it over to sepia. That's the only processing that I've done to it. And to me, what would you say, artistically, to me it looks better. But that's my opinion, okay? Okay, we're just about done here. There is one more type of astrophotography that you can do. It doesn't take, you don't need a telescope, you don't need tracking. All you actually need is a tripod, a DSL camera, and definitely a remote trigger and a computer. Now, the computer you don't absolutely have to have in the field. It just is a little better for focusing and that. But you definitely need it when you get home because this is starting to get a little bit deeper to where you're actually going to have to do processing, okay? And you do not need any telephoto lens to bring anything in. But you can get some beautiful pictures of the Orion Nebula and that, just with the regular lens as what you saw before I changed that, okay? A 50 millimeter lens worked just fine. I believe Brad does some of this. Now, for those who might be interested in this type of photography, there's an excellent video by a young man by the name of Nico Carver. And the video that he has is almost 2 hours, hour and 54 minutes. And it takes you step by step from the minute you go out there, how to focus it in, how to take the picture, everything that you want to do with it, all the way through and takes you into processing. Okay, now you would have to have either Photoshop or GIMP. Okay, GIMP is a program very, very much like Photoshop, except it's free. Okay, now kind of watch out. I'm not sure. There's another program, and I think GIMP is in part of the name. And what it is someone took GIMP and did the same basic thing with it, but what they did is all the processes and all the names, everything that you do, instead of being, as GIMP said it and called it, they used all the Photoshop names. And to me, that doesn't sound legal to me. I mean, you do have copyrights in that. And the way I see it, if somebody's willing to do that and put a product out like that, who knows what you're going to get in those files. So I would keep away from that, okay? And there's the site for that. It's no tracker, no telescope, no problem. Okay, so if you put in that no tracker, no telescope, no problem into your search, and then by Nico Carver, this is what it will take you to, okay? And that concludes my presentation for this evening, and I thank you, and I hope you learned something out there. Oh, and I do. I'm just trying to fall off the stage. Just for size, That's that little first ready-made one that I was talking about on there. Right there. And it's not a bad little camera. Like I say, for $149. But if I had my choice for $149, I'd go for the color one. And that's all I have.
Jim, would you ask on the computer there if anybody on the bridge has a question?
Yes. If anyone does have a question, I put them to sleep. They're kind of frozen, I think. Yeah.
If you mount the camera in front of the eyepiece afocal, is there a particular focal length of lens that you would want to use? I would sometimes they call 50 millimeter the normal lens in terms of like
50, probably for a DSL, yeah, 50 would probably be that a lot of them come with. I think it's like 55 to 80 millimeter.
If you use a wide angle lens in front of the eyepiece, it would sort of
You're going to get everything else out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Most people usually use either a cell phone or just a small little DSL camera. Now those you might have trouble getting a remote switch for. Some of those, like the little Canons, and they're $59, $69, something like that. I don't
You can also
know.
use the self-timer.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah,
Would you repeat what he said for the people on the bridge?
you can also use the self timer on those. On like if you have a smaller, some of the smaller cameras, you can't go ahead and get remote switches for, or remote triggers. So what you actually can do is set the timer. So like 10 seconds from now, it clicks the picture or whatever. Then that way you can remove your hands and let any shake that you might have created in doing that calm down, and then it'll click the picture. And in some cases, you can click multiple pictures or set it up depending on the camera. Yeah. Anything else?
Well, you didn't describe the focusing mechanism for the vehicle. You're gonna
For the afocal?
the eyepiece. Is the eyepiece in focus with the focuser on the telescope, and then you put your cell phone in front of it?
Yeah, on afocal.
Do you have to refocus it after you put it there?
No, you shouldn't have to.
And so you're on the cell phone to focus on the scene. So
Sorry.
Relying on the cell phone to focus itself?
Yeah.
okay, and so it's a DSLR. When you set the focus, you're gonna focus the items first.
I've never done it that way. I would think most people, if they had a DSL, they wouldn't try to do that anyway. They'd probably try to do something else with it, like get the nose piece for it. They'd just go into doing that, I believe. But most people that you see do this, they usually just use a small camera like that you shove in your pocket, you know.
One thing with the DSLR is not a lot from your, that helps you get a lot of vibration.
Yeah.
And most DSLR has some.
Yeah.
You have to repeat that for the bridge.
I forgot what it was.
You get vibration from the mirror.
Yeah, you do get vibration from the mirror, so you're best to have it locked position in that. So, but no, during afocal, normally what you're doing is taking a picture of what you would normally see with your eye if you looked into the eyepiece. Okay, and it may or may not matter. What you can do sometimes, you could probably take and put that over it, get the picture, and then you're probably going to have to enlarge it anyway. You're going to have to do some processing because you're taking a picture of something that's pretty small to start with. When you look at you figure like on a 2 1/4 or 2-inch eyepiece, that's not a whole lot of room, okay? So you're going right down there. You're only using a portion of the thing to start with. So you could actually go and cut that out and enlarge it and do what you want to do with it. Okay. which is basically what you do in that last form of astrophotography. As I said, where you just go up with the camera. You take a picture of that, and then you zoom it in and just keep processing until you get what you want, okay?
What is the longest exposure that you can have on a afocal image without the motion of the sky blurring it appreciably? I mean, have you done the calculation?
No, I haven't done anything with that at all.
On the target.
Well, it would depend. Well,
It depends on what your magnification is.
yeah, it would depend on the magnification, because if there's enough magnification there, you're going to fill up the screen. You're going to fill up the eyepiece anyway, and it doesn't take very long before it just moves right across. So
I'm concerned more about not getting a sharp image, because if you take a 40th of a second image, the moon will move a little bit during that time, and it'll blur the image. You won't get a good enough exposure.
but that's also why you lean towards the prime focus to get away from some of those problems. Yes.
I mean, what's better if it goes back if you got a camera that takes 60 frames per second. So, right.
Yeah. You're going to take care of part of it there, and just like with Jupiter, I mean, Jupiter is really, really spinning. So the more frames that you can take per second, but then it does cause other problems. Just noise that starts to get in the picture too, taking it so high. Okay. Yes, sir.
The register program you talked about.
Yes. It doesn't so much. No, not that I know of. They keep improving it. Okay. So last time that I used it, no, it did not. Okay. All it's doing is taking your picture. You pick a spot, and the best thing to do is the smallest spot that you can find that you can recognize that you know is part of that image, not a piece of dirt or something, okay? So say you have a crater, say you take a picture of the moon, and you have a crater there. It's a small crater, and there's a rebound mark. A lot of people think that what looks like a rock in the middle of a crater, they think, oh, that's what made it. Well, it's not. That's where I keep wanting to say the earth, but the soil has been compressed from the impact, and then it bounces back, and it causes that mound, and that's what you're looking at. It's not part of what made that crater, okay? But nonetheless, that's a nice small spot where you can say, okay, align on this. Then it will take all those pictures and align it to that, okay? And that gives it a place to, like a target. And then it's going to line them all up, and it really improves the image, okay? There are some other things that you can do in there, but you would have to just run the program and try. But it's free, you know. But that's its main intent, is to stack pictures to give you a better image. Yeah. Now, if you got a really, really, really crummy picture, I mean, you're going to be stacking crummy pictures. Okay, it's going to improve them, but it's not going to give you that wow, it's not going to be there. So the main thing is snap some pictures, take a good look at them. If you have to, most of your DSLs have a replay feature to where you can press it and look at this is weird because I don't know where to look, where you can press it and look at the picture that you just took, zoom in on it, and see different areas, and keep zooming in on it, and you have a much better idea of what you focused, or how your focus was, or how good that picture really is. Okay, but like I say, if you take it and you're using a computer to look at your image, it's not going to be as big as a computer screen. The image on some of them is only about that big. But that's still a far cry from what the display is on the back of a camera. Okay, so anything else?
Question. So the camera like the one having on the instrument, you take photos.
Yes.
Like Venus, right? I know Venus with like a lot of culture. Sides on sides.
this nose piece here comes off, you have threads in here, and you can get like this is a 1 1/4 inch. Okay, so you can buy filters that screw on the end of here. You can also buy Barlow lenses, 1.5, 2x, 3x. Barlow that just screw on the end of here. And that's another way to, like, say you can try with a Newtonian. You put your camera in there and you still can't quite get that focus. Screw a Barlow on the end, okay? If you still can't get it, try putting a Barlow in the focuser and then putting that in with the Barlow on there. And it may get you to where you might be able to focus. But it's just, you got to play around. And I mean, you know, you don't have to buy, depends on how much you have to spend, okay, or what you can afford to spend. You don't have to buy the most expensive Barlow to put in there, okay? And that's another thing I might suggest, that nose piece that I showed you, the T adapter that you screw on there, once you put that on there, your sensor is at the mercy of the elements. Okay, if it's dusty, dirty, you will eventually get that sensor dirty. What I suggest that you do, you can buy 1 1/4, and then you can buy them in 2 inch filters that are actually just clear optical glass, and put it over that. Neutral density filters, anything that you have over that you can still use it. That will prevent any dust and dirt from getting up in there. And the more you can keep it from getting up in there, the better off you are. Okay? Sure.
So what's so you're talking about that T adapter that goes in front of your camera.
Yes.
What does that do to the focal length of the camera? Is the telescope the lens? And
yeah, well, you still...
I'm wondering what that's magnification or what the...
Your image is going to be small.
It's going to be small.
Your image is going to be small. You won't... You can put a Barlow in front of that if you want to. If you can... But
this is going to have some dead space around.
Yes. Yes.
You can get a T adapter for 2 inch.
Right,
I think
right.
what he was showing was 1 1/4 inch.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
If your say refractor can take a 2 inch eyepiece, you can get a 2 inch T adapter. You're not losing.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't say it, but yes, they do come in 1 1/4 and 2 inch. And like I say, if you put a Barlow on there, now if it's a 2x Barlow, you've just doubled the size of the image that is going to be on the sensor. Okay? So
the T adapter, all it is just a tube that goes into your system's camera. It's just, there's no option. It's just a tube.
yeah. I had intended to bring everything that I took the picture of, I was going to bring, but then I wasn't sure how this was going to work out. So this is really strange to be talking to 2 different groups of people. So, but yeah, you can stack Barlows too, okay? But then that's where when you get into using the DSL cameras, you're kind of getting into processing too, to a point, because I've taken pictures of Saturn, and you look and it's that big. It's no bigger than basically what I looked at in the eyepiece with a 6 inch telescope. Okay, so you're going to have to process that and bring that closer and enlarge it, and that's part of the process. Mark knows a little bit more about it. I don't get too deep into processing. I kind of want it. It can be fun. It's like anything else artistic in that. I mean, it is what you make it and what you end up with. And for those people that might not know, that picture back there at the very back, that was taken by one of the gentlemen here. Joe Renzetti. Both of them? Okay. And great pictures. Anything else? I'm not sure if they're even there. Oh, they're there? Wake up, Susan. Okay. Okay.
So if there's no other questions on the bridge, I was going to wrap it up, but before I did, I wanted to thank Brad for setting everything up and making the recording that we're going to get to see later. I want to thank Don for opening up his doors and turning on the heat and staying with us this evening. We appreciate that very much. Were there questions from the bridge? No. All right, so prepare for an email that asks you to confirm if you're interested in going out and eating. And if you have suggestions, we'd like to hear them. Our next meeting will be December something. Thank you, December 11th. And you'll get some email ahead of time, so we'll do some sort of Zoom call to vote and play some sort of holiday game, and then some of us will eat together. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Everybody good? All right, thank you so much. Brad, can you shut us down?